Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Yes.
Ladies
Some
and
good
gentlemen,
ones today.
The moment has arrived to hear from the man himself, Ariel Helwani.
I just refreshed my page and I said I have no internet. Come on.
City, it's on
Why does this keep happening?
What Wi-Fi are you on?
To answer your questions,
I thought I'm hardwired.
Get out of your seats and on your feet because here he is, Ariel Helwani.
What Wi-Fi? Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, why not?
Wave.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, here we go. Thank you very much to Mike Heck for that intro. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, back's hurting lately, Really putting in the hours.
Gotta stay limber.
Yeah. This first question actually is a perfect hot tag, if you will, considering our first guest of the day. It's from 02. Ariel, what is going on with PFL? Several fighters, namely Mousasi and Lima, have come out and said that PFL won't offer them any fights or reply to their management in an effort to try to get them to re-sign to lesser deals. Shabley said PFL won't honor the $1 million prize from Bellator Grand Prix. Baki posted a reply on Twitter claiming he had yet to receive his full purse from his fight with Doumbé too. Every time Don Davis comes on your show, he talks about how PFL is fighter first, but it seems like more and more we're hearing about PFL not being willing to honor contracts or pay the fighters what's been agreed to. If what the fighters are saying is true, how is anyone supposed to believe that Renan Ferreira is going to get $2 million to fight Francis? Any insight on this? I do, because I spoke to them yesterday ahead of this Gegard Mousasi interview on today's program. Gegard Mousasi has been out saying that he can't get a fight, that they're not honoring the contract, all this stuff. Gegard Mousasi is one of the greatest of all time. He's a legend of the sport and deserves to be treated with the utmost respect, in my opinion. One of my favorite fighters to watch and talk to. This is what they told me, and I want to talk to him about it because there are two sides to every story, and I don't know. I'm just asking people. I'm telling you what I'm being told. What I was told was, regarding Gegard Mousasi, his contract was coming to an end at the end of 2023. He was one of their higher paid talents, fighters. They had decided that they were not going to re-up him because, business, getting up there in age, makes a lot of money, multitude of reasons. They were going to let that expire and kind of run its course, the contract. At the 11th hour, once the deal had been agreed to between the old Bellator regime and the new Bellator regime, in essence, PFL, at the 11th hour, before everything was signed, sealed, and delivered, the old regime, as a sort of parting favor, re-signed Gegard Mousasi to a new contract at the exact same amount that he was making before. The amount that the new regime had already deemed to be too much. So then, once the organization was essentially handed over and acquired by the new regime, PFL, they were told, hey, surprise, Gegard has a new deal. It's for this amount for this many fights. The new regime was like, wait a second, we didn't agree to that. Who agreed to this? How did this happen? And now we're supposed to honor this? This is what they're saying. He's now saying, I have a contract. I signed it. It's legit. It's valid. And that is true. They're saying, we're not the one that signed you to that deal. And it was sort of done in bad faith because it was a kind of parting shot, if you will, and the company was being handed over. Everyone knew this, and we've already said that this wasn't a deal that was of great interest to us. So now they're battling over that. So where does it all lie? I mean, do they come up with a new deal? Do they agree to rip that one up? Who knows? But that's what they're saying, and I'd love to get his thoughts, and we will get his thoughts hopefully in about 30 minutes time from now. Regarding Douglas Lima, I was told the same. The contract expired. So sometimes the fighters will come out and say like, hey, the contract expired. They're not giving me fights. And then the organization is going to say like, we don't owe you any fights because the contract expired. Now they could re-sign him, but there seems to be in this transition, and this always kind of happens when there's, a new organization being acquired. There's things that are going to happen. The Sabah Homasi situation is another one of those. and they're giving me their explanation. They're saying he's not under contract. It fell through the cracks in the transition. We're gonna make it right. And sometimes this isn't happening as quickly as some would like, and so they go to the media and this happens. I'm not taking anyone's side on this. This is why I want Gegard on the show to talk about his side of the story and not just give one side. But there's always two sides, and I think for the most part, the people who have been in PFL, as far as the OGs, if you will, the Olivier Aubin-Merciers, the people who have signed, the Rorys, the Pettises, the the Sadabusis, the Magomed Karimovs, the Kayla, all of them have said, like, we've been paid. There have been no issues of this kind. So I think we have to see, we have to look at both sides and see how it all plays out. But I found that story that I had not heard up until last night regarding Mousasi to be quite interesting, and I can't wait to get his thoughts on it all. DLG56. Hey, Ariel, have you ever been formally offered to box in the likes of Misfits/Celebrity Boxing? If not, have there ever been possibilities or considerations on your end? I have less than 0% interest in that. I mean, I can't even tell you how little interest. I have no interest in being a fighter. I have no interest in being an influencer. I have no interest in being an influencer boxer. I have no interest in being any of that. That is not for me. I've never wanted to do that. That's why you've never really seen me do videos where I'm training with the fighters and things like that. It's not really my thing. I mean, I've been in the gym sometimes. Alistair Overeem tried to take me down, but it's not like, hey, come see as I defend this rear naked choke. Like, that's not me, and I don't think that's if it's a fun one-off here or there, sure. But I know my place, and I don't really have any interest. The question, I guess, is, have I ever been offered? No. One time someone took the temperature in a Hail Mary, but I didn't even entertain it. I was like, no, thank you. I'm good. I'd rather interview the fighters than be in there myself. I don't possess, like I've said time and again, I don't possess that DNA. I don't possess that courage. I'm not wired that way. And that's why I have so much respect for them. I would never, ever, ever imagine or even think that I could do it. And that's why I think it's funny when I hear people say, like, oh, you talk shit to the fighters, or you, like, first of all, I've been face to face with fighters from the first day on the job until now. And anytime that I've had an issue of any kind with a fighter, I've gone to them first to try to squash it. And you're going to have issues with the people you cover all the time. It's not a question of trying to, out alpha them. I remember when Donald Cerrone had a problem with me, I went right to him to try to squash it. When Ben Askren had a problem with me, I went right to him to try to squash it. When the Diaz brothers even had problems with me, I went right to them to try to squash it. When Rhonda had a problem with me, I tried to get to her to squash it, but it was hard to get to her. Rampage as well. That's the way I like to do things. I'm not trying to be a fighter and fight anyone. Hell no. Danny Boy MMA. Hey, Ariel and crew. I'll keep it short and sweet. Why does everyone keep saying if Fury loses the rematch to Usyk, then the Joshua fight is off? If anything, wouldn't that put them on a level playing field, considering Joshua also lost both of his matches to Usyk? Seems like boxing has an arbitrary rule that both men need to be coming off a win in order to create a big matchup. As a primarily MMA fan, I disagree with this rule and think the Fury-Joshua fight needs to happen after the Usyk rematch, especially if Fury loses. Am I crazy, or does boxing need to take a lesson from MMA on this one? They definitely should take lessons from MMA on the importance they put on losses. Meaning, just because you lose a fight doesn't mean you're a bum. Just because you lose a fight doesn't mean you shouldn't be considered a top pound-for-pound fighter. Errol Spence is on very few people's top pound-for-pound list, and he lost one fight. And that was to the number one guy in most people's eyes at the time, Terrence Crawford. In MMA, you can have double-digit losses and still be considered a legend. Tyson Fury losing on Saturday doesn't make him any less of a legend. He lost to Alexander Usyk, who's now the best heavyweight and maybe best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And I do agree with you. I just think that most people think because AJ is rolling right now and on, this incredible streak where he went, 3-0 in 2023, and then gets the fourth against Ngannou, so it was almost like 4 in the span of a year. it would be nice to see them both streaking at the same time. But you're 100% right. If Fury loses to Usyk, that fight still makes a hell of a lot of sense. And it'll always be one of those fights that will sell. You just prefer it to not come to us when it's way past the expiration date. You'd prefer it to come, a little bit sooner. But I couldn't agree with you more. I want to see those two guys in a ring fighting each other before it's all said and done. Slim Fit Hugo Boss. What a name. Ariel, Mr. 107. Happy New Year! The best damn name in this Substack has returned to On the Nose. Insert the rock tone. Do PR teams /managers/agents ever queue questions up for you to ask? Sometimes I can sense you getting the fighters or promoters over the hump, if you will. Not really. I mean, have there been times where they're like, oh, I want to talk about this, but like no one's queuing me to. Again, I've told you, people have asked me to give the questions in advance, and I've said no, to the point where I've lost out on interviews. The most famous one was when we went to Albuquerque to talk to John Jones after the accident, and we're all there, and it's the morning of the interview, and they're like, you need to send us the questions. I'm like, what? We're going to walk in the park. What do you mean questions? You think I'm going to walk in the park with a sheet of questions? Like, oh, no interview. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You know what I'm going to ask him. This is the easiest interview to prep for. Eventually it happened, but annoying. Kobe, hi Ariel and crew. I'd love your thoughts on TNT likely losing their NBA media rights, seeing you on many occasions have called Inside the NBA the best sports studio show on television. Also, it was noticeable the absence of GC on Monday's show, which is a credit to the effort the entire team puts in to make the MMA hour what it is. Special thanks to this iteration, specifically for the last 3-ish years of entertainment. Hope everything with the family as well. GC. So how about that? GCC, people miss you. I wasn't making it up.
Very kind words. Very kind.
Not the only one. This is some big news. There was a report today in SBJ that they're finalizing everything. ESPN, Amazon, NBC. Now, these are my thoughts. And feel free, anyone else out there to weigh in. I do believe that Inside the NBA is the greatest sports studio show of all time. The run on TNT has been incredible. Charles, Kenny, Shaq, incredible. That team isn't what it is without Ernie Johnson, in my opinion. He is the maestro. He is the point guard. He is the glue. And there have been times where I've tuned in to the pregame, to the halftime, to the postgame, and not even watched the game because I wanted to know what they had to say. And there have been times where I felt like the NBA has needed some kind of moral compass and has needed some sort of voice and direction, and they've always nailed it. They have been perfect. I will also say, with all that out of the way, that I sort of kind of feel like recently, and in particular this year, dare I say, they've lost a bit on the fastball. I don't love, first of all, like the Draymond stuff is embarrassing. His takes, clearly trying to troll Knicks fans and just say the most outlandish thing. Like, he doesn't need to do that. And it's unfortunate that someone who is so successful is going that route. The stuff is ridiculous. And I also don't love the open, and I admit I'm saying this as a biased Knicks fan. I don't want to tune into one of these shows seeing them root against teams. And it seems like they always pick the Knicks to root against because they want to, troll Knicks fans and whatnot. And then you go on ESPN, and if I'm a Pacers fan, I'm equally as upset. If I'm a Pacers fan and I tune into Game 7, and I say this with love and admiration and respect for Stephen A. Smith, when he was, a colleague of mine at ESPN, he was maybe the nicest of all the talents to me. But if I'm a Pacers fan and I'm watching that broadcast on Sunday, I'm annoyed. I want to tune in to watch unbiased coverage. I don't want to tune in to watch someone go gaga or fawn or root for the team. You tune into the local broadcast for that. If I want that, I go to MSG. If I go to ESPN, if I go to TNT, I want it down the middle. I want it like it was back in the day on NBC. Marv Albert was the voice of the Knicks. When they were doing the NBA on NBC, he wasn't openly rooting for Patrick Ewing and John Starks. He was calling it down the middle. Mike Breen is the voice of the Knicks. He's not openly rooting for the Knicks when he is calling those games. That's why the Reggie Miller on TNT Game 2 telecast annoyed me so much, because it was very clear that he was rooting for the Pacers. And that's why when I tune into TNT on their halftime show and whatnot, it was very clear they're rooting against the Knicks. And that's why when I tuned into the ESPN telecast on Sunday, I felt bad for Pacers fans. That's not what it should be. It shouldn't be, if it's one, hey, celebrity fan come in. No, but not the people who are part of the crew. And so I feel like they've lost a bit of the fastball. I really do. And so I welcome a refresh. I want to see what Amazon does, but in particular, I grew up on the NBA on NBC. When the NBA on NBC was in its prime in the 90s, that broadcast alone, that series alone, is what made me want to do this for a living, talking to a microphone. There was nothing that I loved more than a Sunday afternoon NBA on NBC double or triple header. There was nothing I liked more than seeing how Bob Costas opened the telecast, threw it to Marv Albert, and the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, Matt Gukas, Steve Snapper Jones, Bill Walton, Tom Hammond. There was nothing I liked better than that. I would imitate those guys. And of course, we all know about the like that song is the greatest theme song of all time, and everyone's going gaga over it. I bet even people who didn't even grow up on it. The 90s, NBA, magic. I close my eyes. I listen to that. I feel like I'm 14 all over again. So bring them on. I welcome them. I would love to see them. It will be sad. It will be an incredible end to an amazing run, the greatest studio run of all time. But I do kind of feel like they're losing some steam a little bit. And some of the trolling stuff doesn't sit well. Don't love it. And again, I say this as a biased Knicks fan. I get it. I don't want to see them rooting against teams. I don't like to see that. I don't care if you're a former player. Call it down the middle. Be unbiased. Anyone disagree out there?
Sounds like I don't have enough of an opinion on it. I like the show, but
do you remember NBA on NBC?
No. I know the theme song.
Oh, it was so good. The Prudential halftime report. Oh, it was amazing. I don't know if Rick is there. He probably remembers it a little.
Oh yeah, he's sitting there.
Rick, you don't have anything to say?
I'm here.
Taking it all
Nothing
in.
to say.
I'm here. Inside the NBA, still as great as ever. Love it. The best.
Yeah.
Can't believe we're losing it.
Stuff.
They're
I actually really don't like when it's not the core four.
Oh, and that's why I emphasized you take Ernie out of that, it's a totally different show, because we've seen it without Ernie, right? We've seen it with those
you cannot
three
take Ernie.
minus Ernie, yeah. So even if NBC hires those three and not Ernie, it's not the same.
Not the same.
You have to have
not the same.
All four.
Yeah.
I love Vince Carter, but even when I tune in Vince Carter, I'm like, damn.
And
I saw an article recently that it seems like they're trying to re-engage John Tesh for some Rambo
he was
Rock,
yesterday on Levitard. I listened to it. He said they have called him, and he's got an orchestra booked in late June, and they're going to revamp it. And they're actually talking about licensing it for the Olympics this summer as well. And
they're going to record a new edition of this song.
He just wants to tinker with a few things. He acknowledged that there's nothing that needs to be changed, but he just wants to freshen it up a little bit. I mean, he recorded
Fox's now, right?
So he owns it. John Tesh owns it. John Tesh is a longtime musician. He was also a co-host on a show called Entertainment Tonight in the 80s and 90s, which at one point was seen nightly by 20 or so million people. It was must-see. It was a 30-minute show. There were only two places on the planet where you could see movie trailers back in the 80s and 90s. Entertainment Tonight or the movie theater. That's it.
Entertainment Tonight is still going on, yeah?
Yeah, but it's nowhere near what it was. I used to watch it with my parents. It was must-see TV. Entertainment Tonight was John Tesh, and it was Mary Hart. And it was must-see TV. And he was on there. And he was working as a musician as well. And he would work on some sort of fringe sports like Tour de France and skiing and swimming, those types of sports. And he was at the Tour de France, and he had heard that NBC was getting the NBA from CBS, and he had thought, "Oh, I can make a cool theme song for this." And so, in the middle of the night, he woke up. He's in France. This is the story that he's told before, and he calls his voicemail because he has no way to record this. This is in 1990. He has no way to record this. He calls his voice, his answering machine back in New York, and sings the da na 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 to himself. Comes home, listens to that. Oh yeah, I got it. Composes it, records it, gets highlights, puts it on a VHS tape, and delivers it to Dick Ebersol of NBC and says, "This is your new theme song." Dick Ebersol says, "What's the name of the song?" He says, "Round Ball Rock." Cool. They love it, and the rest is history. When NBC got out of the basketball business, he owned it. He then licensed it to Fox. It's now on the freaking Saturday afternoon Fox Big East game, which is a complete travesty.
I can't stand it. I don't know why they do that.
And I love my friends at DraftKings, but it shouldn't be on a DraftKings commercial as well. I mean, let's be honest. You see that Kevin Hart commercial? Like, this needs to be on NBA telecast. And hopefully come next year, it's back. Oh, no, sorry. 25-26. It's back on NBA telecast. Roger. Hey, Ariel, why is no one calling for a Mike Perry title shot on BKFC? Because Mike Perry fighting for the BKFC title means nothing. Who are the BKFC champions? No one knows. No one really cares. They want to see him have fun fights, and they've booked him phenomenally. MVP, Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, Thiago. Like, these are the fights that people want to see Mike Perry in. They don't care about him fighting for the belt. And in fact, they probably value the King of Violence belt even more just because he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's in his own lane. Do you guys agree with that? Who cares? What's going
Agreed.
on? Why is there always like a 10-second delay every time?
I thought you said, who cares? Like, you didn't want to hear from them anymore.
No.
Yeah, you kind of did put like a little capper on that.
I'm asking.
What do you think for Rick?
Who cares?
Rick looked like he was fired up, man. Rick was cracking his knuckles back here, getting ready to go. So I was waiting on him, man.
I am not, but Perry is his own kind of universe, his own entity, and it's more interesting for me when Perry is like pulling people into what he does and kind of like building his fights that way. Once Perry kind of comes more like part of the establishment and like the thing, then it loses it. It's kind of like he's this outsider and he's kind of like carving his own thing. So I like Perry in the lane that he's in. That's where he belongs, and it's working. Like people to the point like people are asking about like legitimate stuff for him. But I like the space that Perry is occupying right now.
I agree. It's just like he's the fun fight guy. This is an update from James in Portland. Hola, Ariel. It's me, the guy who gets Taco Bell for this segment. Not sure if you guys really wanted to know the order. I think we did. But since prices are crazy high lately, I get some favorites box that has a quesadilla, taco, nachos, a drink, and cheesy bean burrito for $5.99. But back in the day, I'd roll with the 2 chalupa meal. Does that mean anything to you?
Smart man. Yeah, that means a lot to me. Big Steak Supreme chalupa guy over here. I mean, I guess now that I've seen on the internet and among members of this show, the chalupa gets slandered. Everyone says gordita's better, even though chalupa is like a fried gordita shell. I don't know how you can even compare the two. I get the gordita crunch, but yeah, it means a lot. Near and dear, chalupas to my heart.
Follow-up question for GC. What will happen first? John Jones' next fight or Kanye drops Vultures 2?
Hey, gosh, I don't know. I have no idea the timeline on Kanye dropping Vultures 2, so I'll go with John Jones' next fight.
Question for New York Rick. My challenge Mount Rushmore is Bananas, CT, Wes, and Jordan. Agree or disagree?
That's the group for the men. Good call. Yeah.
No disagreement.
No. You could throw women on there if it was co-ed, but they'd have their separate. But those are the 4 dudes. Love that.
Hut. Ariel, will Tom Aspinall receive pay-per-view points for an interim title defense? I do believe so. If so, is it based on a lower percentage since it's interim and not undisputed? No. If Blades wins, I'm rooting for Tom, but I do like Curtis also. If Blades wins, I'm rooting for Tom, but I do like Curtis also. Does the interim title just go away, or is Blades the new interim champ? No, he just becomes the interim champ. What do you mean? It goes away.
It is going to be weird. Like, Bruce is going to have to announce if Tom wins and still interim champion of the world.
It's happened before.
It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy.
Love the show. Love the crew. Your banter is hilarious. Shout out to Frank. Love the watch parties. Thanks to GC and Mike. Have a great show. Love it. Loves it.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Frank had a special moment back in the day, this time last year, right? With Amanda Serrano.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was quite the moment.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I should have pulled that clip in.
Yes.
That is
Yes. Let's fire that up.
Yeah. Let me grab it.
Ryder, what's up, Ariel? Me and my dad went to Game 7 at MSG. We had to spend a lot on the tickets for not the best seats. Also, my dad was in the building for the 95 series against the Pacers against Reggie Miller game, so that made us want to go even more. I'm sorry. The energy in the building was crazy, and an experience that I will remember, but the result was so awful. Still a great season. My question is, do you think next year with Tibbs' philosophy of coaching, we could stay healthy through the playoffs and win it all? Because this year the injuries killed us. Yes, because I maintain that the injuries were just bad luck. Julius Randle crashed against Miami and messed up his shoulder. That's not Tibbs' fault. OG Anunoby had a messed up elbow and a freak hamstring thing. Not Tibbs' fault at all. The Jalen hand injury at the end of Game 7, how's that his fault? Josh Hart gets an abdominal issue. Okay, you could say maybe he's beat up. You want to go there? Fine. Mitchell Robinson banged up his entire career. Boyan came from Detroit. I don't buy this at all. Who did you want him to play? Daquan Jeffries? Jacob Toppin? Like, who did you want him to play? Everyone's banged up. This thing that Tibbs overplays people goes back to the Derrick Rose injury. And that was a freak ACL injury as well. He plays the best guys, and the best guys want to play. Most people don't say, like, oh, he plays me too much. They want to be in there. So nonsense, total nonsense. And he never gets credit. Like Game 5, he put Deuce McBride on Halliburton, and he completely clamped him down, and no one gave him credit for that. Also, I was considering coming to the live show in New Jersey. Not sure if it'll work out. My question about it is, what time will the show go until? And are you going to do them more often? I ask about the time because I have something the next day and I live 2 hours away. It should go until 10. So 2 hours away, you'll be home by midnight. All good. Come on down. Bring the family. Speaking of which, njpack.org, we've already dropped 2 hints. May 31st, the night before UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey. There it is. It starts at 8, a stone's throw away from the Prudential Center. So go to the ceremonial weigh-ins. Come over to us over at the beautiful, this is by far the biggest and the nicest venue that we've ever done one of these. The Road Show rolls along, this time in Brick City. Multiple guests will join us. Giveaways, meet and greets. Hint number 1 for guest number 1, a current UFC title contender will join us. Hint number 2 for guest number 2, a former UFC title challenger will do us. Visit us, be there with us. Friday, May 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern, live from Newark. You can get the tickets right now over on njpack.org. It's the link in my Twitter, pinned one, the pinned tweet, my Twitter page. The link is also in my Instagram bio thingy. Come out, support. It's a great time. No one has ever left one of these unhappy. And again, if you're going to the ceremonials, you can come over. And even if you're not, if you're in the New York area, the Connecticut area, the New Jersey area, and the best part about it all net proceeds go to the Good Fight Foundation, the charity that is run by Dustin Poirier and his wife, Jolie Poirier. He is the big story of the weekend, of course, going up against Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. All net proceeds go to the Good Fight Foundation. So if you want your hard-earned money to go to a great cause, there it is, Friday, May 31st. In about 9 days' time, we're going to do another Roach, our 5th so far. Can't wait for it. And I hope that we will see you there, Ryder. Jared, on Monday's show, during your interview with Leon, you stated that he thinks the reasoning behind the time of the UFC 304 pay-per-view was due to the changing of locations. Can you confirm that the original 304 date was in Utah? It was. Or could there be other reasons for not changing the time to UK time? I think generally they feel like keeping it on American time is better. I did point out that last year's UK pay-per-view was during the afternoon here in America. Someone did tell us that part of the reason for that could have been that the trains outside the O2, there's a curfew, and so they wouldn't have run at 3, 4, 5 a.m. I think the UFC has graduated to a point where it doesn't matter what time they put on their shows. They do very good business, but they obviously have the analytics that will show that the 10 p.m. sweet spot for a main card, 10 Eastern that is the best slot for them. They way back in the day, 13 or so years ago, tinkered with a 9 p.m. start, which I loved, but then they went back to 10. They like that 10 slot. But yes, the original location for 304 was Utah. Supreme Neck Protector, yeah. Jumping right into it, MMA Hour Legends, thank you for always bringing guests that can get swept under the rug over the years. Dimitri Salita appears to be a hell of a promoter, and he sounds like a Ukrainian Christopher Walken. Wow. GC, welcome back. Never leave us again. Please tell me you texted Juliana, hey, this is Carlos.
Yep.
It's not very nice. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know why I would do that either. Am I
very
missing
mean.
the reference there?
Carlos Ulberg.
Yes. Actually, now I am going to do that. I still haven't texted her yet.
Wait, originally you were just thinking like, why the hell would I say I'm Carlos?
Yeah. I was like, what is this guy talking about? I just rolled with it, Just
Yeah.
keep the train moving here. We don't have parlay pals this week though. She's not trying to get off the schneid.
Oh,
The UFC event. Yeah.
nothing for
No. We don't need to pull 4 picks out of the cat at all.
Taylor.
Nah.
That's a big time fight.
No, yeah, big time fight. We don't need
It's
to
a
pull 4
domestic
picks out of
dust-up.
it. Come on, man. 4 picks out of that card? Come on.
Okay, first of all, we've got that. We've got PVZ.
Yeah, we're not doing Misfits either.
Are there even odds for Misfits?
I don't think the odds are
not that
out
I've
for that
seen
one yet.
Yeah. Not doing it anyway.
All right.
Week off, man.
That's
We need a nice
okay.
break,
We-
rest, recuperate. Memorial Day. We'll go to the beach, grill up some dogs, some burgers, and think
All right,
about
fine,
who
fine,
we're going to
fine.
take for UFC
Cheers.
302.
NY Jackman, he calls you. Do you still own a PR
Oh.
company?
I never owned a PR company. I
was
used
just
to
about
work
to
for a PR company called Jack Taylor
I was
PR,
just
which
about
is
to
blown
say.
up
It
and
has.
is absolutely incredible. Shout out to our mutual friend John Beer, who's the man, and everything all the success that Jack Taylor is having. But no, I no longer work for Jack Taylor, but I learned nearly all the skills as a professional from them and from John, and so I owe them a lot. But no, I do not do PR any longer.
I was just about to say, I didn't even know you owned a PR company.
Mm.
This was going to be breaking news to me.
Frankie,
I did not.
even though you're not allowed on camera, your Daria presence resonates with the world.
Oh, that's
Not
flattering.
allowed. Even if you wanted to be on camera, you can't be, bro.
By the way,
Sorry.
do you know what Daria is?
Yes. Are you asking me or Connor?
No. I mean, I think I was asking you, but that's the spinoff from Beavis and Butthead, right?
Right.
Ah, what a show that was. That was
So
great.
they're equating my humor to Daria's humor.
Yeah, I love it. I think
I always saw
that's-
myself more as like a Trent. I don't know if you know who that is.
Nah, lost me. on
That's
that one.
Daria's friend's brother.
GC, you know Daria?
No.
Rick, you definitely know Daria.
Was it a comic
Yeah, of
strip?
course.
It was a cartoon. It was a
It's-
spinoff.
It was an animated show,
Right.
of a very like
Dr. Daria Long Gillespie?
No.
dour kind of lonery girl.
You sure?
She-
Daria Long MD? Harvard? Yale?
No, it was a
That's on-
spinoff of
No.
Beavis and
TED Talk?
Butthead. Beavis and Butthead.
CNN? NBC? Netflix?
No, it was a cartoon.
Did you know that they're going
No,
to
it was-
reboot
NY
King of the
Jackman
Hill?
might have to stick. I like that.
NY Jackman's pretty good.
No,
That's
hell
a good
no.
one. NY
New
Jackman?
York,
Come on, man.
nah, Rick.
It's either I feel like New York Rick is the proper first
We
name.
don't talk
NY
about enough that
Jackman is the good last name.
Yeah, I don't. Nah, it's good. It's
You
good.
have to
Yeah,
say New York and then cut Eric short, New York Rick, or you go last name, abbreviate NY Jackman. I like that. I love it.
What you were saying something, Rick? We don't talk about something enough.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I was gonna say something that doesn't need to. It's not that important.
Oh wow, no,
Daria
now
was
I'm
a great
even
show
more
though.
Curious.
Daria was great.
How do you spell
Daria was a
Daria?
great show.
Daria.
Daria.
How did you spell it?
I did double R. That's why I got the medical practitioner from TV. Oh yes, I know her. Yeah.
I mean, I dropped the word dour. I feel like, SATs off the charts there. I feel like that was a nice one right there. But just saying.
Let me
That
get
one's
in one
above my
more
head. I don't
here.
even know what that means.
Nick, Ariel, I'm getting married on June 1st. Dustin is one of my favorite fighters, if not favorite. You can see the dilemma. My fiance already knows what's going down after the wedding, watching DP, Gilly, Islam. My question is, what would you say the average time the main event makes the walk? Golly, I don't know, man.
This is a tough one here
Yeah.
because you can't tune into anything else. You can only you're gonna have to have one of your best men or someone in your wedding party keeping tabs on the card because you need to be able to just waltz right in as they're getting ready to make the walk. You watch the fight and then you move on with your evening.
Yeah, and it's not like
cannot
boxing
imagine
where
it.
they have set walkout times. You know,
Yeah.
like everyone was asking me,
Yeah.
Fury, they actually set that time in the UFC. It's dependent on how the other fights go. GC, is it acceptable to sneak away and catch some prelims? Finish the story. Let's go.
It's your wedding day?
Yes.
No, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Also, the prelims aren't that great to be.
I mean, you cannot be leaving your wife idle to go watch Roman Kopylov versus Cesar Almeida. You can't do that. We can't be watching Nico Price, Alex Morono, Jocelyn Edwards, Alien Perez.
Nah, you can't.
While you leave your wife idle on your wedding day. You can't do that. The Poirier, just go watch the Poirier. She'll probably join you for that if it's really your favorite
down.
fighter.
Yeah.
You guys watch the Gilly together, and then you go celebrate in style.
Cade, Ariel, I have one question today. Will Connor GC Burks be in attendance at the live show in Newark?
Yes, for sure.
My girlfriend
100%.
and I are coming to the show, and she gets sick of me talking about how much of a fan I am of the program. GC is the MMA Hour GOAT.
Wow, this is high praise here.
That is high praise. Coleman, what is the piece of journalism you are most proud of? I would probably have to say my Real Sports story on the World Series of birding. I thought that was the most impressive piece of journalism.
Solid choice.
No, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if that's for me to answer, but congratulations to my friends at Real Sports who won 2 sports Emmys yesterday. One for a specific story on athletics in the Ukraine right now, and then another one for just best series. But there's a more specific category there. Anyway, still so sad that show is no longer on the air. But greatest team as far as sports journalism and in particular investigative journalism. I mean, there's no greater team, and I doubt there will be a greater team. TJ, hey Ariel, we got beef. I'm sick and tired of the anime slander and mispronunciations. Please listen to Rick and GC on these topics. MMA is like anime in real life, so be respectful. Haha, all love. My question is, every now and again,
see myself out.
I go in the rabbit hole of watching your funny interview clips with Rampage. What are your top 5 favorite funny interviews you have ever done? Oh, I don't know. It's hard for me to pick that. P.S. The Kayla Harrison ones are also quite fun. Thank you. To Bother Ariel, to GC, Rick, and Mysterious Frank, what are your top 5 favorite animes?
Neon Genesis Evangelion, Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop.
I was going to say Cowboy Bebop.
Samurai Champloo.
I don't watch
And then,
anime, so whatever.
Macross.
I mean, it's
Listen.
very, very cliche, but I mean, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Let's get you a
That's what I watched.
Crunchyroll account.
You can borrow
Ariel.
mine.
Crunchyroll. It sounds like a great sushi.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the Netflix for
Serious?
anime. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like just.
You can't just get it on Netflix?
Some you can.
Some you can, yeah. But this is where you're going to get everything.
Okay.
I'll gift you one. Your birthday's only about 6 weeks away. Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks.
Sorted.
Sorted, as they say. Big A, what's up? This is from Gaza Bruh. Just listened to the crack with the patron saint, and he hinted at something big in Ireland with McGregor in 303. Wondering if you have any info on this. Yes. Kleb the Pleb. I know you love using the native pronunciation of fighter names. Made most notable by your commitment to how you say Adesanya. So I thought I'd let you know that most people put the wrong emphasis on the I in Inoue's name. The correct pronunciation is Inoue. Inoue. Interesting. Okay. I appreciate that. Much love to you and the rest of the team. Inoue. You guys got that? Who,
Wait,
me?
but so what happened with the McGregor thing?
No, we're leaving it at that. Sorry.
Oh, it was, do you have
He
any
asked
info?
me
And
if
you
I
said
knew about
yes,
it, and I said, yes, I do.
And then we move on.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, good. I wasn't tracking there for a sec, but I got it now.
Yes. Hi, Ariel. I just wanted to show some support and let you know that the anime Dragon Ball is Japanese and you pronounced it correctly. It is pronounced Super Sai-on, not Super Sai-in. Do what you will with that information.
Who says this?
Gil.
Gil, I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
This is Ariel's burner account.
No, I swear.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear I referenced it to Frank?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, Al Shadi messaged me at that moment.
That I was doing his head in.
Yeah, I was like, he's trolling us.
No. Hey, Ariel, I'm heading out to NYC for the first time next week and wanted to ask you, GC, Rick, and Frank, what are the must-do things, places to visit? Maybe I can return the favor if the gang heads over to Manchester for 304. P.S. Who are you rooting for in Saturday's FA Cup final? I'm hoping Manchester is red. I think it would be a nice story for Ten Hag and the boys, but no real dog in the race. My number one place to visit in New York has to be Sushi Sasabune, the best.
I'm going to say you got to go see the 40-foot long hot dog they have at Times Square right now called
Is that true?
Hot Dog of the City.
Wow.
Yeah, it shoots confetti out of
Yeah,
it.
it blasts confetti every hour.
If you go to New York, you don't go see the hot dog.
Who's doing this?
The Hot Dog Commission.
Wow.
Nathan's getting ready for 4th of July.
Oh, is that it?
I'm gonna throw out Empire State Building is one that I love to do.
Oh, yeah.
This time. Statue of Liberty is great also.
Yeah.
Very touristy. You've never even been, Frank. Come on, man.
And
This
I'll
guy.
keep it that way.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, there it is. There it is. Frank, I recommend you go see the Statue of Liberty. It's gonna be like, noted, and then I'll never go.
Yeah. Rick, you want to?
Hang out in K-Town. I don't know. It's like I've lived here my whole life. I don't do the tourist stuff. I don't have a great answer.
Okay.
Like I've been asked this many times. I don't have a great answer. Go get
Go
a
walk
slice
the
of
High
pizza
Line?
from the closest possible
Right.
pizza shop and go hang out in K-Town.
Honestly, if it could be arranged, a weekend with Rick in Manhattan, I think would be the best
That's
way
the
to
best.
experience New
I
York.
can take them around. I can show them
Like,
around.
just going on a
but,
walk with you in Manhattan? I'm
You're
like,
just going with me. Yeah,
exactly.
we're just hanging.
Kelly, what's up, Ariel and crew? How do you deal with your hometown sports team leaving? I'm a Bay Area native, and recently, as everyone knows, the Raiders have left Vegas, and now the A's are joining them. Do I pick a new team, stay loyal, root for the crosstown rival San Francisco Giants, or Niners, who I've despised all these years? I already made the decision to follow the shield of the Raiders, wherever it goes. But now I'm torn on what to do with my beloved Athletics. What do y'all think? Ariel, you are the GOAT. GC, the man. New York Rick is a legend, and Mysterious Frank is a hater. Peace.
Man, why is Frank getting shaded so bad today?
I have
Poor
to say,
Frankie.
as someone who saw his beloved baseball team leave in 2004, it took me about 11 years to watch a baseball game again. And I only started watching the 2015 Blue Jays because Alex Anthopoulos is a Montrealer, and he had this crazy trade deadline where he acquired David Price and Troy Tulowitzki, and he acquired Josh Donaldson the previous season. And I was just like, all right, I'm depriving myself of a game that I love to watch, but it took a long time. I can't root for the Nationals. I despise everything to do with that franchise. It sucked really, really bad when they won the World Series. And so I feel for you. I feel for Sonics fans. I feel for Houston Oilers fans. It's not the same. Even if a new team comes back, it's maybe not quite the same, but obviously it helps in a big way. So I don't have a good answer. I don't think I could. It would be a little bit easier if they were the Washington Expos, maybe, but probably
I think it would be easier. I think it
a
would be
little,
easier.
a tiny bit.
Interesting. You didn't mention Atlanta Thrashers. I mean, a heartbroken community after they left to go to
Two
Winnipeg.
teams though. They had the Flames also.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You think I don't know this?
Yes.
Heartbroken twice, not once but twice. I think if it was the Winnipeg Thrashers and they still had the uniforms, I would cheer for them more likely. But now,
But it's not
they're dead to me.
So the Raiders are a weird one, right? Because they went from LA to Oakland to LA to Oakland. Like they bounced around. So I think following that crest.
I feel like you're just kind of a Raiders fan. You
Sure.
just stick with that. Oakland A's becoming the Las Vegas A's.
Weird. If they even stay the Las Vegas A's.
Yeah, and the A's stink.
But I don't. To me, I like the Expos, or I love the Expos because I loved seeing Montreal in the standings. That's my team. That's my
Yeah,
city.
of course.
So if they were the Montreal Royals or something, I will say, by the way, speaking of Atlanta hockey, I think if you lose a team twice, you don't deserve a third crack. Do you agree?
Might get a third one.
Do you agree with this
Get a third
statement?
one. No. As someone that desperately wants a hockey team back.
Do you desperately want a hockey team back?
I just jump around every year. I mean, this year I'm all depending on who I bet on the futures. This year I got the Stars and the Rangers. Last year was the Devils. Yeah, it could break out nicely for me if we get a little Stars Rangers final. But yeah, I liked going to Thrashers games. $1 tickets. It was great.
The reason I said that is because it was a shot at Washington because they lost a baseball team twice and got the third one.
I'm sorry.
I was hoping you would back me up.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that.
Jordan, hey Ariel, what would mean more to you, a Knicks championship or a Bills Super Bowl? I've been asked this question before, and I really don't want to pick. They're both very meaningful. I was a Knicks fan in 90, became a Bills fan in 91. The answer I typically give is, if I could pick for the community, I think that a Bills Super Bowl would mean so much to Western New York and Buffalo because they've never experienced a championship of any kind, Sabres, etc. New York has obviously experienced other championships, Yankees, Rangers, Islanders, Mets, etc. But for myself personally, very hard to pick. If I had to pick one, I'm a bigger basketball fan than football fan, so maybe I side with the Knicks. And I adore both teams. I don't know what to tell you. Can I just get one of each? That would be nice. That's all I really want in life. Ariel, are you the world's most famous Buffalo Bills fan? R.I.P. Tim Russert. He was very, very famous and an incredible journalist. I do not think I am. No, absolutely not. Since you're adding darts, boxing, and football to the MMA hour, I think you should add American football. You am a big Buffalo Bills fan, and it would be great if you could have weekly, monthly Bills interviews. The Bills seem very open to media all the way up to Bean. It would be awesome if you could get Josh on, although Keon Coleman seems like a great guest. Obviously, you already know Dion Dawkins is a great interview too. Also, is there any chance at all Connor fights even twice this year, let alone 3 times? Sure, why not? P.S. I wasn't complaining about the other sports being discussed on the MMR. Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
I feel like you're the second most famous Bills fan.
I'm not even top 5.
Number 1, Kyle Brand.
100%. Great guy. David, Ariel, it's been a week since His Excellency offered to broker peace between you and Dana White. Even though you're open to it, I sense that you're somewhat conflicted with the idea. Are you still conflicted? Have you gotten any hints from people within the UFC of whether Dana says yes or no to it? I think I speak for every MMA fan, whether they are a fan of you or not, when I say just go for it. The magic is there every time an interview with Dana comes out. MMA will be fun again when you two do an interview together. All I'll say is nothing has happened since, and I'm not holding my breath. I will just begin to think about that if that's a real thing. I don't think it's a real thing, with all due respect to the sentiment, which I appreciate very much. I'm not very hopeful that some sort of resolution will be happening, and it's not something that I'm praying for or dreaming and thinking about. I know who he is and how he deals with any type of conflict, and it's totally cool. It's totally cool with me. Kevin from Ottawa. Hey, Ariel, here for my weekly check-in of what happened to the outro music in some of those episodes. Any update on that?
No.
What's up with Scott Coker these days? From Scott F. He's doing some local shows with Gilbert Melendez. We had Gilbert on a couple weeks ago to talk about this, and I think he's just kind of laying low. Joshua95 has a request. He says, instead of playing an interview from past weeks when we take a break when there's an in-studio guest, would it be possible to play an OG interview from back in the day? Actually, we used to do that, and I felt like the more recent ones were resonating better. What do you guys think? OG interview or recent interview?
OG.
You like OG better?
I do.
All right.
Especially like a real old one, like a grimy one in a different studio.
I think the newer one, because I think it's not going to be as jarring when somebody kind of like catches it. It might kind of like take you out of it because they're not going to be familiar or see the different set or see the. I feel like the smoother version of that is probably a more recent one, even though certainly I love to throw back.
Yeah, we used to do that at the beginning, but I don't know. I just felt like the more, you missed it on Monday. You get Leon Edwards there for a few minutes. 2 more. Blue Gopher. Ariel, I know Rick is a tough man to please, evidenced by him poo-pooing my Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller matchup, but let's try something different. What does he think of Cédric Doumbé leaning in with a new fight nickname of Master Splinter?
It's decent, funny, but no, you can't do better than the best. It is the best. So no, I veto this as well. Your heart is in the right place with both of these, but unfortunately, no. I say no to both.
And in conclusion, an update from Trevor North, Ariel and crew.
Pastor guy, right?
There's been a new development.
Youth group.
Oh boy,
On
I've been
attending
waiting for this.
UFC Louisville. I like how you guys are all locking in.
Yeah.
In a surprising turn of events, my girlfriend and family bought me 2 tickets to UFC Louisville for my 31st birthday this past weekend. Happy birthday. And had already planned on she and I leaving our vacation a day early to attend so I didn't have to have the awkward conversation with them. I mean, perfect. This week's question. My girlfriend is attending a wedding that same day and won't be going with me. Do I ask my former youth pastor to join me in Louisville?
Full circle.
Also, GC was right. Class of 2012.
Shout out. 31st birthday. That'll be me soon.
Yes, you 100% asked the youth pastor. They got you started on this journey of MMA. Now you are repaying the favor. It comes full circle. Absolutely, youth pastor has to be there.
How close are we with this youth pastor? Like, is he
We
gonna
don't
be
know.
like, is he gonna be like, hell yeah, man?
Turns
Or is he gonna be
out-
like, oh, nice to hear from you for the first time? And I mean, he's
Could be a
31.
good chance to reconnect.
When was the
7
last time you
hours.
talked to this guy?
Watch, the youth
Honestly-
pastor's going to be on vacation.
That's what I'm saying. 7 hours is a long haul in the saddle with when was the last time you saw him?
There's only one way that this story could be advanced further is we need to hear from the youth pastor. He needs to contact the youth pastor, and we need an update that
Is
includes
he still
the
a youth pastor?
Is he still?
I think you
like,
grow up at
what are
some
we
point.
looking at?
A youth pastor that introduces
That's not how that works, Frank.
young men
You
to
become
the
an adult
UFC.
pastor.
Well,
I'm-
I invite said
think
youth
the
pastor
terminology.
to leave us a comment on the Substack. Maybe we can get an update from him next week. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.